What is up, sports fans? Thanks for tuning in. My name is Fry. Today I'm going to be talking all about my AFL fantasy team and how I went in round 10. Could have been a lot worse. I was pretty happy with this week. I went back up in rank, so as long as I can keep trending in the right direction, I'm not going to be too spewing. A few spanners have been thrown in the works, wrecking my perfect plans. I was trying to get Tommy Rockcliffe back in this week. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but yeah, round 10 was an interesting round. A couple of massive scores, a couple of people that failed, a couple of rookies that we've definitely seen enough of, and it's time to handball them out of our teams and move them on. But let me show you exactly how the large fries and Coke went this weekend. So 2076 was my score for round 10. Pretty solid. I've always said that if you can top 2 and get closer to 2-1, then you know, that's a good thing. Like I said, as long as I'm moving up in the ranks, I'm all right. Technically, my round 10 rank was higher than my overall rank. So if I can keep that trend up, then surely that means I'll keep moving upwards. I didn't jump a heap. I think I jumped about 2,500 spots. So I'm celebrating being ranked 22,000th. But considering the way I was trending, I went from about 9,000th, just kept going down to about 30,000th. It's good to see me going the opposite direction. My back line, I am so happy with Luke Ryan. He's scored 114 average in his last 3. He's been massive. So yeah, thank you, Luke Ryan. You will definitely stay in the large fries and Coke for a while. Rory Laird did his thing. Jake Lloyd, 90 was fine. I got a little bit burnt by my last 2 defender spots with Ridley and Pearce, but that was always going to happen with Sammy Murray out. I held him, kept him on my bench, and if he's available or not this weekend, then that should dictate a lot of my trade moves. According to Bucks, though, his return isn't guaranteed, so watch this space. In the guts, I had Tommy Mitchell, 135, Danger had 117, and I brought in Jack Macrae this week and put the C on him straight away. Had 113, so can't be mad with that. 90s across the board from Sidey, Merritt, and Gibbsy, which was good. Lockie Neal had a bit of a dud, but that's the worst game he's had all year. I think he'll bounce back against the Pies. Timmy Kelly had 57, so he's probably out the door this week for me. And Ed Phillips had 70 odd, so he might even come on my field. My rucks, Gawn and Jacobs, it's the first week that they've failed for me. I was really looking forward to watching that game because I had a lot of Ds and a lot of Crows blokes, but some delivered, some didn't. Both ruckmen were in the didn't category, so Jacobs especially is on thin ice. Gawn I can live with because I think, again, this is his lowest score of the year. But yeah, Jacobs needs to lift. My forward line, it's pretty good actually. Willie Rioli definitely delivered after I had Robbie Gray on my bench due to his bye. So thank you, Willie. You probably saved your spot in my team throughout the bye. The guys all scored in the 90s and above. Toby McLean, unbelievable. He was huge this week. So yeah, my round 11 trades are hinging a little bit on how team selection pans out, but overall I was pretty happy with my score this week. 2076, I don't have a ton of money in the bank, but I've definitely got some things in the works. I just talked about Toby McLean, and he's the bloke that gets the first +3 from round 10. He honestly looks like he could be the best forward this year. I read somewhere that some dude on Twitter was talking about how Greenwood came in to tag Macrae, so he was going to put the captain's badge on McLean because McLean would just have a ton of free footy. So hopefully, to whoever you are that was talking about that, you did that move because that would have been dope. You would have had a score of over 300 from your captain. Yeah, if you don't have Toby McLean, you need to get him into your team, period. Angus Brayshaw, big 166 against the Crows. He started to play his way back into form. I've had my eye on him for a few weeks. I touched on him, I think, in around 8 or 9 as a potential trade target in the Fry's Forgotten Few on Dream Team Talk. So, yeah, his massive score, round high 166, probably a career high. I'm not sure if it was or wasn't, but I don't think he's going to keep up these ridiculous numbers, especially considering the Ds have won back-to-back games by like 90, 100 points. So he'll come a bit back down to earth, but he could average 90s from here on out. So he's priced just under 600 grand right now, so I definitely consider snapping him up for your backline. Could be a perfect move from Duday or Sammy Murray to someone like him. And the third +3 I'm giving out, there's a few blokes that were in the ballpark for this. Steph, Treloar, Fife, Mickey Walters, a few others I missed, but I gave it to Ben Jacobs, who's been pretty awesome for the Roos this year. He had 114, A lot of people didn't think that he'd be producing the way that he is. His price has increased by over 250 grand. He's averaging near 80, so if you had him as a cash cow to start the year, well done, my friend. -3s, first one goes out to Buddy. A lot of people thought he would be big against the Lions and kind of shat the bed with a 51. I still think that he's going to be a top 6 forward, so if you're an owner, don't overreact and trade him out. But yeah, we wanted more from Sir Lancelot. Timmy Taranto scored 1 point less, and honestly, a lot of people will be doing a sideways trade from him straight to Tom Rockcliffe this week. With Josh Kelly back in the mix, he didn't score as well as he has previously. He could still bounce back and be all right next week, but I think it's time, if you go Taranto to Rocky, that's probably a smart move. Third dude who I'm giving a -3 to was from my team. That goes to Sauce Jacobs. He's been dealing with a bad back for a couple of weeks. Had a 49. This isn't the type of score that we want from Sauce. He had 53 or something like that a fortnight ago as well. So, yeah, I'm stuck in a little bit of a tricky position due to the buys that I've got with Gawn and a few other rucks that I want to chase. But, yeah, I don't want him in my team if he's going to keep putting up numbers like this, that's for sure. I'm introducing a new little section. I'm going to talk about some noteworthy numbers. So most of this revolves around break-evens. At the moment, no one has a higher break-even than Rory Sloane of 163, and a couple of other dudes who battled injuries in Josh Kelly and Gary Ablett have break-evens over 145. So if you're looking at bringing one of those dudes in, wait on until their price drops a bit. Max Gawn's bad game has kind of dumped him in it, and Jackie McRae now has a break-even of 139. So this could be the first time in a long time that we see him actually go down in price. So for all of you who are buying him or bought him last week like I did, bought him as close to the top as we could, but, you know, he's still putting up stupid numbers, so should be okay. Some of the lowest break-evens, Simi Smith might set a record for arguably the lowest break-even I've ever seen. His break-even at the moment is -36. Probably missed the boat on him. He's gone up about, I don't know, 100k in the last 2 rounds, and will probably obviously go up again, but like I talked about with Brayshaw, due to their massive wins, I don't think these numbers are going to keep flowing. He'd probably come back down to earth and have a 50 next week, so might have missed the boat on him. There's a trio of Saints that you can look at though. Logan Austin has a -16 as his break-even. Bailey Rice, who I'm also considering bringing in, has -11, and Eddie Phillips has a break-even of just 4. So all 3 of those dudes are still ripe for the picking, and you can snap them up for your team. And then rounding out some of the rooks that we've talked about, Guelphy has a break-even of 11 and Ridley has a break-even of 2. So probably missed the boat on Guelph. I think from memory he's priced around 300k, so that's probably too much to chase. But, you know, you could go Fritsch down to him if you think Fritsch is topped out, or there's a couple of moves you can make. And Ridley obviously is a pretty popular pick to be on everyone's field after Sam Murray and Finlayson and Caulfield, for that matter, have all been given the flick. Quick trade thoughts. Everyone this week is about getting Tom Rockcliffe. That is the same boat that I'm in. He's a must-have for right now. #1 trade target. Zaharakis, just quietly, is another dude, averaging around 130 in his last 3. Look at his numbers. Consider him if he fits your buy structure in the midfield. Talked about Andy Brayshaw already. I think he's the pick of the bunch for the defenders right now, given his price and his ceiling and break-even. Andy Gaff, who I was going to bring in this week, but didn't, had a ridiculous score. From memory, it was like the 2nd highest score of the round, so he's another great option. And the pick of the forwards for mine would probably be Mickey Walters. He's shaken off that injury, had 120 again on the weekend, so look to bring him in. All the rookies that I talked about before, Austin, Rice, who else did I miss? Phillips, the 3 St Kilda guys, and then Ridley from the Bombers are all definite trade targets. I'd be considering Rice over Austin in my back line, although we'll see how teams are named and how things pan out later in the week. But that's probably, if I was tossing up between the two, I'd probably have them ranked Rice and then Austin, and I'd probably put Ridley just above both of them, but see how you go. Another bloke is Stefan Gyro from the Dockers. Had another awesome waffle game, back-to-back weeks. He's been pretty huge, and he'll probably come in this week for Freo. Trade outs, I've already spoken about Sauce and Taranto. Paul Seedsman, who's now hurt. J-Lo and I just talked about him on our Sunday sit-down because Jake's got him in his team, so that means that we're probably going to have to make a couple of moves there. He's not alone. There's a lot of owners who've got Seedsy, so they're probably the 3 premiums, or guys that are priced a little bit higher than rooks that probably need to go. obviously if Sam Murray's not named as well, then he's another dude who can't just be sitting there not making you money and not giving you points, so he gets the flick as well. He's not the only backman though, like I mentioned. Finlayson and Isaac Cumming, the Giants pair, were both dropped last week, could come back in, but if they don't, they've got to go. And then Nicky Caulfield, maybe even Tommy Duday, if you can make a move that fits your buy structure. They're defensive guys that have got to go. And then, with the exception of those guys, I think Timmy Kelly's maxed out now. He's looking tired, probably be rested next week, wouldn't surprise me, but he's the other guy who's reached his break-even average-wise. He's done his job. Round of applause to Timmy Kelly. He's been wicked for us for 10 weeks, but it's time to go, my friend. Looking ahead, there wasn't a ton injury-wise. Callum Mills injured himself throughout the week, so he obviously didn't play this weekend and he's going to miss the rest of the year, so that could hurt you a little bit in draft. Basher Hooley hasn't been performing up to his regular standard, but he hurt his groin and missed the second half of the Tiggies game, so if you've got him, you need to get rid of him probably. Stay tuned and see what they say more about that. It could only be a 1 or 2 week thing, but as we saw with Josh Kelly, sometimes 1 or 2 weeks translates to 6, so be careful. Groin injuries are a little bit of a touchy subject. Seedsman, I've spoken about. Got to get rid of him if he's out for a few weeks. Sanderlands suffered a concussion, so that hurts me in one of my draft leagues, and I know a lot of other people will be grasping at straws trying to find a ruckman who can score for you. Fingers crossed Sean Darcy can come straight in and replace him, and a couple of people can do the flip in draft. But yeah, Sandy might miss probably a couple of games because he was due for a rest. Wouldn't surprise me if he sat out the next 2, maybe even the next 3. The devastating injury news of the round though is Asava Radagalia, who, I think I pronounced that right. I'm pretty happy with myself, if I do say so myself. He broke his ankle pretty gruesomely. Don't go watch the highlight. Cut yourself some slack there. But his season's done after breaking his ankle. From an MRP perspective, Mason Cox is likely to miss after his high hit on JJ on Friday night. Jakey Carlisle knocked out Jack Rewalt, who missed pretty much all of the Richmond St Kilda games. So both those dudes are probably going to face a stint on the sidelines. Willie Rioli gave Razor Ray a pat as well. So don't even get me started on this umpire touching business. It's honestly a joke. But talking AFL fantasy, not logistics of the game. So Willie Rioli could be in a bit of hot water and miss a week if the tribunal deems that as a bad look for the game. My trades for this week revolve all around getting Rockcliffe, like 99% of the competition. Like I said, he's a must-have. He's a number 1 trade target this week. I think the second trade for me will be a downgrade, maybe even a little bit of buy structure. If Sam Murray is out and Sauce Jacobs is out, then I might have to look at getting in the likes of Cruz or Sicily, even though they're only going to be playing 1 week and then they'll have their bye. I'll be getting them for the long term, not just short term, so that could be another option. Thanks for tuning in. I've got a few bits and pieces planned for the next week. I've got a full work schedule, so there might not be a video that goes up midweek. I'll try to, but otherwise the next vid/podcast will probably be JLo and I sitting down talking about our trades on Thursday. Good luck in round 11. This is the last week of normality before the buys. We do get 3 trades a week over the buys. So if you've got nothing better to do this week, which you'd be very lucky if you're in a luxurious position like that, but if you don't, then change a few people around to set yourself up well for the next 3 weeks, because it is really make or break throughout round 12, 13 and 14. Good luck for the buys and for next week. Until next time, peace.